Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 46 of the Survival Project. So when we think about autoimmune disease, we often think about the physical symptoms. That's be the pain, the fatigue, the medications, and of course, the hospital visits. But what we don't talk about enough is what it does to your mind. The uncertainty, the isolation, the loss of identity, the anxiety of never knowing what tomorrow is going to look like. Today's guest is Kate Middleton, the founder of the Wren Project. The Wren Project is a charity dedicated to supporting the mental health of people living with autoimmune diseases. After her own lupus diagnosis, Kate experienced firsthand how invisible the emotional burden of chronic illness can be. And rather than accepting that as the norm, she just set out to build the kind of support that she wishes had existed when she needed it most. In this conversation, we explore the psychological impact of autoimmune disease, why loneliness is one of the biggest challenges people face, importance of peer support, and how the Wren Project is helping people feel seen, heard, and understood. So here's my conversation with Kate Middleton. Kate, thank you so much for joining me today. You are the CEO of the Wren Project. Would you mind kind of running through with us what the Wren Project actually does?
Yes. So Wren is the UK's mental health service for people with autoimmune diseases. We were founded 5 years ago. The intention is to fill the gap that I think exists around people living with autoimmune and the need to provide mental health support for them, not only when they're first diagnosed, but throughout their whole period of autoimmune.
100%. It's definitely a gap in the market is the word that springs to mind, but it's the only one that kind of fits at the moment when I'm thinking about it, because I remember when I was diagnosed as an 11-year-old way back in 2003, the whole mental health aspect of how it affects you wasn't really talked about. It was really something that was just, I wouldn't say brushed under the carpet. It wasn't made aware at all. And it's only as I dived into the effect of it, and my mother, in fairness, was a great guide for that, to bring me to the services where I needed to kind of explore my mental health. And it took a good few years to get there. So it's an amazing initiative that you have set up and 5 years going. I'm sure you've helped so many lives in that period.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking how much of a privilege it is that people trust us enough. Because I think that unless you've got credibility and you're proving your worth, why would someone refer when they're in a period of distress and talk about how shit their mental health is? I wouldn't have done that. I think it requires a lot of trust. I don't do that with doctors. I don't think I trust them enough to tell them details about my mental health in those appointments.
Yeah, I don't even think that they're the right person to approach. You can obviously mention that maybe you need to be referred to a service, but I know from my own personal experience that they're there to treat the symptom at hand rather than the symptom that might be going on in the mind, which is an unfortunate non-holistic view of how the human body works. When they can't be compartmentalized, they have to be looked at as a whole. But just diving into your own journey, and how did the idea for the Wren Project first come about?
So I was diagnosed with lupus when I was 17, and just the same as you when you were 11. It wasn't even discussed. And mental health in my family was never really a thing either. So then when I really struggled with trying to understand what lupus was and how it affected me and going through periods of like quite destructive behavior, I sort of questioned, why isn't there more provision for people living with these diseases? And that was the real thing that drove me. I was relatively on top of things with great doctors, but I was still falling to pieces in my mind. And I thought, I wonder if all the other people with autoimmune diseases are the same as me.
Yeah, and as much as we might be experiencing different symptoms, the mental pitfalls and the mental weight and the burden that comes with it, very similar, if not the same. You know, we all go through the same feelings of grief, loss of identity, and just episodes of depression. You know, that weight and that burden of the unknown and the uncertainty that can just take over your whole life, and then not knowing where to turn because you're thinking, who can I ask about this? Or am I the only person experiencing this? Am I just weak because I feel so burdened by what I'm experiencing? And then unfortunately, as we all know with social media and stuff, you can look at things, it has changed a little bit where people are so much more open about sharing the negatives as opposed to the positives and stuff. And there's beautiful communities of people with autoimmune diseases online, which I didn't know myself until I dived into the social media world about 3 years ago. To just help each other and benefit from each other. How much has social media been a positive in kind of getting your message out there and getting people to know the Wren Project exists?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting question because as always, I'm a bit of a hypocrite here. I think social media has been amazing. It spreads the word, but it also connects us with like-minded people that are trying to achieve the same thing. And I don't think I knew how many people were trying to achieve the same thing before you start deep diving social media. But then at the same time, my name's Kate Middleton, so I've avoided social media like the plague because it's a bloody nightmare.
I actually have to admit, when I got your email saying Kate Middleton, I thought, oh, this is just some spam now or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nightmare. And I've been blocked countless times. So I just thought, fuck it, I'm not going on that anymore.
Yeah, but actually, I thought the Queen wants to come on my podcast. Oh, I've made it. We have a different Queen on today, a different Queen.
Thank you.
when it comes to, I suppose, the people that come to seek help, what is the main kind of theme that people will come with and say is their initial fear when they initially make the first initiative to actually seek the help?
I think I've been struck by the loneliness. Loneliness is the number one. And what does it mean to be lonely? I'm talking about kind of an intense feeling of, I don't know who I am anymore. I spoke to this remarkable person a few weeks ago, and it really resonated because I went through the same thing. Of it really occurred to her with a subsequent diagnosis that her body, left to its own devices, would destroy itself. And I think I sort of struggled with that a lot in my 20s, and I could see her doing the same. And it's a really shocking realization of the loneliness that you experience, of people don't understand. People just ignore you the whole time. When you say you've got something wrong with you, you have to fight to get noticed. But also a loneliness of not understanding your body anymore, not understanding yourself, not understanding your future. And I think we have this question of why do you want to refer to the Wren Project? And it's, if you want to upset yourself, you read those questions because they are desperate. Just this intense loneliness.
That's something I know myself, is that you can be surrounded by people and still feel completely lonely. And I don't want to make that sound like a cliche. I know there's one that's like you can be in a room full of people and still feel lonely, but it's an absolute fact of the experience of chronic illness, because you can first of all feel like a passenger in your own body. You're thinking mind versus body. Your body's not doing what it's supposed to do, and it feels like the enemy rather than your friend as it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the vessel that carries you through absolutely everything. And when your body's not functioning as it's supposed to, that intense loneliness of no one understanding what's going on in your own mind. And from that intense loneliness, obviously your mind can turn against you because the negative thoughts then come with it. So unfortunately, it's nearly like just a cascade of problems that seem to develop with the autoimmune conditions. For people who are hearing what you're saying and they're thinking, oh my God, this is something that I think I need in my life, but are possibly afraid to take the steps because there still is a bit of a stigma on talking and seeking help, and I suppose admitting that you're not okay. What advice would you give them?
What advice will I give them? Don't rush it and take it in your own time. I know I'm meant to say, refer to the Wren Project. don't rush it. I was diagnosed at 17. I couldn't say the word lupus for 10 years. And if anyone said it around me, I'd attack them. Founding the Wren Project actually really helped me because it meant that I was surrounded by people where it felt safe to talk about it. It took me until I was 31, 32. And even now it's difficult. I'm trying to work out where I fit in this. How much do I share and what's my story in this and what's my truth? So the point that I'm trying to make is that I've had this for 20 years and I'm still royally fucked up about it. And if you're speaking to one person outside your family, friends or doctor, you think maybe that might help, then do refer. Or if you think speaking in a group of people with autoimmune diseases might help. But if you think, I can't do that right now, I don't even want to think about it, I'm just going to go and live my life and make the wrong decisions, do that, because maybe it will change in a few years down the line.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic advice, because we can always be about action, and oh, I have the answer here, you need to come or whatever. Until you're ready, it's the wrong move, and patience is action in a sense. A guy, Oliver Ackert, said that recently on the podcast, and it really sunk into me because I was always thinking like, oh, I have to do better, I have to do more, I have to try and fix myself, fix my mental health, fix my physical health. But sometimes patience is the action that you need to take the moment, collect your thoughts, and possibly find a way through. And others are saying, well, the teacher will arrive when the student is ready. I think coming on to podcasts like this and the work that you do puts the awareness out there to show people that there are options, and that when they are ready to come and seek the help or just talk to someone, they are available and ready to do that. Just into your own story, I love that, royally fucked up. We're all royally fucked up. Absolutely. Even people who know LGs are royally fucked up. But from your own experience and everything, I know you said that even starting the Wren Project has been a help for you. How much has been the part of community and meeting like-minded people changed your own mind about things?
I actually didn't know anyone with lupus for like 15 years. And I still don't know many people with lupus now. I sort of cheat because I get to see what's happening at Wren from a distance. So I can feel part of a community from a distance. And that's important to me. Sometimes there's periods where I really just don't want to talk about autoimmune, and there's periods that I really do. And I'm lucky because I can dip in and dip out when I want to. But when I do, it's the same. It's the same cliche as everyone. You suddenly realize I'm not the only person. It took me so long to realize that I've been on steroids for 20 years now. And it took me a really long time to realize that that's quite unusual for someone with lupus. I thought that was pretty bog standard. And it's not. So realizations like that from speaking to other people with the same disease, I think have been really important. But I am probably a bit more cautious than others because I think I like to be able to completely step away if I can. I don't know whether that's really answered the question.
No, I completely get it because I know with as much positives as I can take from sharing my own story on social media, sometimes it gets overwhelming and sometimes you need to, in a sense, protect your own peace because the more you can have the self-awareness and the knowledge that you do need to step away for your own mind, the more you can show up for people when you're able to dip back in. So rather than completely burning both ends of the candle, as they say, and overdoing it, no help to anyone, so it's amazing to have that self-awareness because a lot of us don't, especially when we live with chronic illness. We push ourselves because sometimes we just feel less than, and you really try to move through projects and do things that sometimes are taking too much energy out of you. So having the wherewithal and knowledge to know that is a fantastic thing, because I know when it comes to setting up businesses and trying to help people, obviously from your own experience of living with lupus, you have an empathy to anyone else who might have it. So you want to do as much as you can to help them to avoid pain. The whole premise of this podcast is your story could be someone else's survival guide. And as you said there, you were on steroids for such a prolonged period. You thought that was just normal until you got to speak to someone else who had the information to tell you that it wasn't. So that really speaks to how important it is in the power community to find like-minded people and join these groups, obviously when you feel able and you want to share. But no, it's a fantastic initiative that you've set up. I just want to dive into maybe the possible demographics of people that come to you. Is it mainly male, female? Do you find a nice balance between it, or is there one more than the other?
I mean, 80% of people with autoimmune diseases are female, and that's very much reflected in our demographic. 80% of our service users are female. So it's actually only 20% are men. I wish that was also higher because, do men struggle to reach out more than women? I don't know. Is that too generalized to say that? But we've noticed that the men that do reach out are often in a pretty desperate state.
Yeah, I definitely find that maybe it's just the way men feel they have to carry the burden a bit more, or the inability to speak. Because I speak so openly, I have now met like-minded people who are happy to come on and have these deep conversations with me. But I only had a conversation with a friend of mine at the weekend, and he was talking about other guys he knows in certain communities, and he was saying they don't talk, if they were suffering, they would suffer in silence because they don't want to seem to be weak. So unfortunately, that is still a massive thing on the men's mental health side of thing. I've had two fantastic conversations. So this week is World IBD Day, which is World Inflammatory Bowel Day. And I've had two fantastic conversations. I've done one where it's two guys talking about the male experience and two females talking about the female experience. So I'm in the kind of sphere of people who are happy to talk, but I'm sure there is a lot of people out there who don't feel don't feel they need to, until things get so much that then they have to go and seek help. For people that have come to you in your services, is there anyone you could talk about that has possibly come in dire straits, maybe feeling despair, and through your services have been able to have such a positive impact in their life?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to our head of ops yesterday, who was reading out some of the feedback, and so often we hear you saved me, or you saved my life, and you can read those quotes and let them pass by, or if you just sit and think about them for a second. We had a look at people that refer to us. We ask them, have you had thoughts to end your life? And that's the percentage of people that say sometimes or often is high, which is terrifying. It shows how desperate the population of people living with autoimmune disease is, and perhaps how completely unrecognized that is. Because I'm sure they will have all experienced the standard, but you look so well. And we do get amazing feedback. You saved me. There was one person that referred right at the beginning of Wren, about 5 years ago, and he was referred by a cleaner that worked in his office, and she found him. She didn't speak English. She found him, and he was in floods of tears because he just had a diagnosis. And even though she didn't speak English, she managed to find us, and she referred him to us. And I always remember that story because it shows the power of the human to care for one another in such a deep way. And he was a wonderful person. And I think he benefited hugely from our support.
That's absolutely fantastic. That guardian angel he had in that moment who saw him and knew where to send him to get the help that he needed. It's absolutely fantastic what you've done to create a space where people can come, and the services are free for people to access.
Yeah, everything's free.
That's absolutely fantastic. It must be quite hard to run such a service and also keeping it free for people. Could you talk to us about possibly fundraising or anything that people could do to probably help and keep the initiative going for you and build it?
Yeah, I mean, we have a head of community fundraising who is also a volunteer himself. So he has been with us for a really long time. And he's really part of the family, and he's just so great because his job is to get people to do different activities or events for us and fundraise for us through them, but also to do runs for us where we sell them tickets. And it's such fun because I've done these a few times myself, and it's such an amazing community to be part of, to be on a run with like 10 other people that are running for the Wren Project. It's really fun. But it's also the things that people want to come to us and say, I'll fundraise for you, I'll do this. Someone did a dance over a whole month with her daughter. So her daughter has IBD, and they did like 20 minutes of dancing every day together. And it was just amazing. And there's loads of different things like that. So it's not just a standard walk or run or cycle. There's very creative, imaginative ways of raising money for us and helping us.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'll definitely add all the details in the description for anyone who wants to get in contact or may have ideas. But I know the conversation that we're having here and a lot of the conversations I'm sure you have are very heavy, and you know there's a lot of weight in the words and the unfortunate experiences people have. But you get to see probably the worst positions that people can come in, but also the best side of people who want to come and help others. Like it's a beautiful thing that you've set up, and also the opportunity it gives people to help other people because of maybe possible situations that they've been in. From your experience over the past 5 years, what have been the most, I suppose, heartwarming things that have happened throughout it?
Yeah, I mean, reading the feedback of how much we've changed people's lives is the number one that springs to mind. It's incredible. And I think we are making people feel less lonely, because so many people say, I wish I'd known about you before, or I didn't know you existed. I think the thing that sets us apart and that we try the hardest to do is be quite unique in their experience. So we've all had experience of sitting on doctors' phone lines trying to get an appointment, or sitting in hospital waiting rooms as like 2 hours delayed, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's really important to us that when you refer, we will call you within 24 hours and you'll get an appointment. You'll start sessions with us within 28 days. And, you know, I speak to the volunteers, and I'm aggressive on the topic of, perhaps too aggressive, of do not volunteer for us if you're going to flake or not turn up to one of your appointments, because these people have had too much experience of that and you cannot add to it. So if you add to it, then go away, and I don't want anything to do with you. Don't volunteer for us. I really defend that, and I think it's really important. Don't be late. Don't cancel. As a volunteer, your role is to give them a different experience to one that they're so used to and probably expect.
Yeah, 100%. Your expectations can be on the floor when you suffer a lot through the years, and you can be known to be let down by maybe the medical services or different types of services maybe you've approached in the past. So I think it's a fantastic foundation to put in place to know that when people reach out to your services, they are going to be seen, they are going to be heard. It's really changing the mind and giving people that confidence again in other people, which is fantastic. Throughout your experience over the last couple of years, what has it really taught you, I suppose?
For me, living with a disease, or about the community?
Both, whichever you'd like to dive into.
For me, it's been a lifesaver, and it still is. For so many years, I was furious about, I still am, about what's happening and I am angry about it. I don't want it. And for so many years, people told me that was the wrong reaction to have. And Wren, I'm around people where you can have any reaction you want. The word acceptance makes my blood boil. Because it does not resonate with me, and I will never accept this situation. It might for others. That might be the way that they live, and that's great. But my word that I cling on to and live by is anger, which is great. I love it. And I think Wren has taught me that everyone does this differently, and nothing is wrong and nothing is right. Everything is just you. So that's been the most powerful learning for me.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic, because like how you feel is valid, and just because someone tells you should feel another way doesn't mean you're going to, or doesn't mean that's the right way for you. So having people come and approach you with understanding rather than trying to change how you might be feeling or things like that, having a complete acceptance for the moment, because how can you possibly change, or possibly gain, as we say, acceptance or move into a different position if you can't feel valid in the feeling that you're having in the moment? So
Yeah.
I think that's a very fantastic thing to share, is that how you are feeling to your situation is completely unique to you. And if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. It's not going to change the situation by someone telling you should feel any different until you actually possibly do. For someone who is to approach the Wren Project, could you mind diving into how the structure would go if someone was to reach out tomorrow morning?
Yeah, so they probably send us an application or a referral online. 80% of our referrals come through individuals themselves. 20% are referred by others, but 80%. And I think that's important to recognize, because it shows that people want the service themselves, looking for it themselves, and they're reaching out, trying to find it. So there's an active want there and a need. And we receive it. We get an email of their referral. We'll call them within 24 hours. And that will be a wonderful person from our operations team who will have maybe a 30-minute introductory call. And that's to find out why they're referring, to tell them a bit about the service. And if they go ahead and say, yes, I want this support, then you'll be given appointments, and you won't have to wait for appointments for longer than 28 days. And once the appointments start, it's fortnightly sessions, usually over video call, but it can be over phone call if you prefer that. And they're scheduled every 2 weeks with the same person. Again, it's really important to us, that regularity, and over a longer period of time. And you can choose for those sessions to be one-to-one or in a group form.
That is utterly fantastic. I don't have the words to put in, like the 28-day call or initiative to get things started. I suppose a lot of the reason a lot of us don't seek help is because maybe it's an affordability issue. We can't just say and go to someone tomorrow, book an appointment, and then you are put on a waiting list for 6 months to bloody 5 years. I've heard of such extremities. So to have I've heard some crazy things over the different conversations that I've had. And then you're fighting. You're backtracking all the time. You're fighting when you don't have the bandwidth in your mind for everything you're dealing with, or the physical capabilities to fight anymore. What you've created is just a fantastic thing for people who are suffering. For someone who possibly wants to help out, they want to maybe volunteer, how would they approach that avenue?
Yeah, again, it's an application process. You send in an application, and then we have an amazing team that contacts you. It's a group discovery conversation. So you'll join with lots of other people that are applying, and our volunteer managers will tell you about what it means to volunteer with us. The volunteer package is what we offer people is, I think, exceptional. We'll train you and be with you for a period of a year or more if you decide to stay longer, but the minimum commitment is a year. And in that, you're taught how to listen to people, which is not an easy thing to do. And I think the most important thing is that you're taught how to make a safe place for someone that will trust you enough to tell you incredible detail about their life that they probably wouldn't share elsewhere. You'd then support, over that period of a year, you'd support 2 people consecutively for 6 months. And again, that's really, I think it's a special thing, because you really get to know someone over a period of 6 months. And it's not a check-in or a moment. It's a period where you develop a relationship with the person. You become integral to their life.
It's a really beautiful relationship to build up, because you see someone without the mask on, you really get to go to the bones of the person. And I'm sure that good friendships and relationships develop through the partnerships that come from it. What would be the longest periods that people would kind of stay in contact? Is it kind of a personal choice on both parties, or is there like a recommended time frame?
Well, you're given support for 6 months, and everyone stops after 6 months, but then you can re-refer. You can come back to us if you need us in the future. But again, that mimics, as you know, autoimmune gets shit and then maybe gets a bit easier and then gets shit again. So it's trying to react to that we make that rule.
100% the roller coaster of life, where it's good 1 minute, down 1 minute, and there's no warning signs to come and tell you that it's coming. It just like that, it can change in a heartbeat. Is it specifically just autoimmune conditions that you deal with?
Yeah, and we wanted to. I mean, chronic conditions is a mass. I don't think anyone is representing autoimmune in this country as a collective. We're the only organisation that looks at them all together, bar one, and that. Our organisation is specifically service delivery for that community of people. So I'm quite eager to look at autoimmune as a collective, because I think there's enormous things that unite us and that we're stronger together and we'll be noticed more if we talk together as a community.
The power of voices joined together is fantastic. Is it UK exclusive or Europe, Ireland, UK? Is it more broad than that?
Sadly, just UK exclusive because we're under the Charity Commission laws. But my dream for the future is to make this worldwide.
Yeah,
we get a lot of
100%.
applications from America, actually, which is interesting. There's need everywhere.
Completely, because I know in the sense of the American healthcare system, everything is a high cost. And I recently interviewed a guy over in America, and when he started breaking down to me the cost he pays for health insurance every month, I thought I'd be bankrupt. I'd just have to, and there's definitely a massive mental health draw that comes from that, knowing that you are just paying to exist rather than paying to, live and have a life. So I hope that your goals do come to fruition, because it's a fantastic initiative that you have created. Just on the topic of lupus, would you mind diving into your own journey from when symptoms first started to first when you got your diagnosis?
I hear so often people saying this, and then I wonder whether it's a stupid thing to say. But I always begin this answer with, I was so lucky because I got a quick diagnosis. My family has loads of autoimmune disease in it, and my sister, who's only a year older than me, had an autoimmune disease at the time. So my GP knew what to look for, but that's really rare. And so I got a quick diagnosis with lupus. The diagnoses later in life, where I've got more diseases, have taken a long time, taken years. So I've sort of experienced that fighting. I'm actually going through it right now. I'm fighting for a diagnosis, fighting to be believed, and fighting that it's not all in your head. And it's such a crap system.
It is horrendous, and I know I say this jokingly, but when you get one autoimmune, it's nearly like Pokemon, got to catch them all. They just seem to compound. Everyone I talk to is fighting more than one disease, and one more problem, which just compounds on the other issues that you're experiencing. Unfortunately, it is a crap system. And no matter where you are in the world, it seems to be a crap system, and the feeling of not being believed is horrendous. The fact that someone be thinking it's all in your head when you have the previous experience of going down this rabbit hole and knowing something is wrong. No one knows their body better than someone who's dealing with chronic disease or autoimmune condition, because you know when something's off. And maybe it's not showing up in the blood test, maybe you're not fitting into the textbook thing, but there is a problem, and you have to keep fighting and advocating for yourself, which is just another strain on top of everything that you're experiencing. When it comes to the lupus symptoms at the moment, are they managed, or are they unfortunately still affecting your life?
So I'm going down this rabbit hole at the moment, which is really useful. It's so funny because a couple of years ago, I had my first child, and I didn't think I'd be able to have children. And then I was able to have a child. And strangely, the lupus sort of went into a remission with pregnancy, which it can for some women. So I was really lucky. But then I was going on podcasts and talking about how shit it was living with lupus. And I was like, I'm a phony. I'm a complete fool. Because there's nothing wrong with me anymore. And I was like, I can't speak like this. I'm talking utter crap. And then I had my second child, and it all went really wrong. And for the last 9 months, it's been a shit show. The lupus is okay. It's been a nightmare. My rheumatologist has not been great, and she wrote me an email recently that said maybe these symptoms are psychosomatic, and I just thought, how you can say that to people is beyond me. But anyway, I think the lupus probably is calm, but it's created other issues, and in the past 9 months I've had 4 heart attacks.
Jesus Christ.
And yeah, lupus is in remission, so it's like all psychosomatic.
You're imagining these heart attacks.
What is wrong with you to read that and then send an email like that? Anyway, I really hope she's not listening to this.
I hope she is.
I know, I agree. My mum would say that. And then, but there's obviously something still wrong. So they've sort of fixed the heart issue, and now they're looking into an esophageal issue. And I've got this appalling test that's going to happen next week over 24 hours. So I'm gearing myself up to that. But the point that I'm making is to go back to this roller coaster. 2 years ago, I was like, I'm a phony. I've got nothing wrong with me. And now...
Oh my God. Never a minute's peace. That false sense of security, and then it's just like, gotcha. Yeah, that's terrible.
I once spoke to a counsellor, and I was like, I don't know why I'm always such in like fast forward mode of like, I have to achieve everything today. And he was like, well, it's because you know that in 3 months you're going to be back in a hospital bed and everything will come to a crushing halt. So you have to achieve everything now. Otherwise you wouldn't achieve anything. And That's the perfect. I think about that a lot.
100%. Absolutely. Everyone says you have to be present in the moment. When you have an autoimmune condition, you have to live right now and do everything. And it's like, that saying, tomorrow's not promised to anyone. It's less promised to you when you have an autoimmune condition. So you know what could possibly happen. So you just fight for every single minute and hour. And unfortunately, imagine you have experienced burnout and crash out through wanting to succeed so much. It must be quite a weight to put on yourself as well on top of it.
Yeah, but I was speaking to someone in the team yesterday. I think it saved me in the last 9 months. If you took out Wren, I would just be an ill person. My life would be dominated by hospital and tests and doctors, and Wren has given me something to hold on to that's not me just ill. So it's been crucial for me. There are periods, obviously, when you have to step back and you can't do everything. But keeping going through all of this has been an essential part of keeping my head together.
100%. Like, we are not our disease, we are a reaction to our disease. And when you can turn the pain you've experienced into a purpose, it gives you a whole new lease on life and gives you power to get through it. Like, I have to say, starting talking this podcast and doing the social media work has been life changing for me. And it keeps me accountable in my own health as well. It just has had so many positives to do it. And I imagine, as you said there, it's been a great experience for yourself in the sense that it gives you purpose and allows you to have a positive effect on other people's lives, which then has a positive effect on your life. So we're helping other people to help ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Very selfishly.
Yeah. Radical selfishness. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. And what's the future looking like for you? I know you said you have this 24-hour test coming up, but obviously there's a little bit of uncertainty. What's the next couple of months going to look like?
For Wren, really exciting things, because we're really launching into offering group support and increasing our services so that we can support more and quicker. For me personally, it is a bit of a fight to survive at the moment, but I feel okay. There's been periods where my health has been awful and my mental health has dipped, and those are the worst periods of my life. But at the moment, I think my children and Wren have made the shitstorm of the last 9 months and what's coming up easier to face. I don't know. I keep saying to the people around me, I don't know why I'm not a mess. But for some reason I'm not.
Yeah, I think that does stand to the testimony of fantastic of how it is to purpose. Purpose can be such a strong personal advocate for ourselves. Is having that purpose. And the next question I actually wanted to move into was how you manage being a mother of 2 children. My friends have all recently had, so their wives have recently had kids in the last couple of years. And I see how time consuming it is. Like, that's just with work that they have to deal with. There's no chronic illness thrown on top of it. How do you find managing and structuring your day when there's kids to look after and work to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. So how would I answer that? They're the most important bit of my life, and they're the most important part of my life. But we've made big compromises over the last months. I've lived in London all my life. And last month, literally within 2 weeks of one of the heart attacks, we decided to move back to my parents' house, which was a hell of a decision for my partner and for me. My health has just been so poor. I didn't want it to affect them. So we cancelled our wedding and we moved to the countryside. And I say that with a massive smile on my face, because you think about these decisions of like, fucking hell, what the hell has been happening for the last 9 months? But actually, they've been really good decisions, because it meant that my health has not completely taken over our life and massively impacted it. You just make these decisions quickly because you know you have to, and you know that's the right decision for your family and it's the right decision for your children. And being able to be on top of your health is easier when there's people around you, if you're lucky enough to have people around you. So move to those people. I never thought I would live in the countryside. It's quite shocking here. Really different. I hate having to get in a car to go to what the hell? But it's been the right decision, and it means that I can commute to London to sort my health out, knowing that my kids are okay.
Yeah, 100%. And look, as you said there, making decisions, having people around you, if you have the ability to be around the people that can help you, is a very hard thing to do, first of all, because when we do suffer with autoimmune conditions and chronic illness, we do get this sense of independence. We have to do a lot of it on our own because we've had to do a lot of it on our own for so long. And actually asking for help is very hard. And I have pushed people away throughout most of my life to the point of being an absolute dickhead to them. And it's only the last couple of years where I've been like, all right, I'm willing to accept the help. And it has made my life so much better and their lives better because I've allowed them agency rather than constantly hurting them by kicking them when they're trying to help me. So I think it's a fantastic thing to mention there is that, if you have the ability or you have the chance to accept help, to do it, because it helps everyone in that situation.
But you've also got to have someone to blame, right? And that's sadly my partner takes that role quite a lot of the time. I put the kids to bed and then they're like, I'm not speaking to you for no reason.
Yeah, it's always good to have a punching bag,
Yeah, important to have that as well.
But no, it sounds like you do have fantastic people around you. And Kate, I just want to commend you. You're a fantastic woman to be going through everything that have gone through and are going through, and to have used your pain to find a space where other people can alleviate a lot of their pain. Like it's a beautiful thing that you have set up and created and are continuing to work towards, despite everything, all the obstacles that you've had thrown in your own way.
But what did you call it? Radical selfishness, which I love. I think I'm going to start using that. I think that's a perfect description of where I'm at the moment. I'm like feeding off working with people and supporting people at Wren, because the thing that's the most helpful for me at the moment is to realize that I'm not the only one that's going through complete shit at the moment.
Yeah. And it's a powerful place to be when you're kind of like, I'm not the only one experiencing this, and to hear other people's stories. Sometimes you hear other people's stories and you go, geez, my lot's actually not too bad. I wouldn't swap with them.
Exactly.
There's that saying, whereas if you if everyone in the world put their problems up on a table, you'd always take back your own. You wouldn't be, for fear of getting someone else's. And even from having conversations with people on this podcast, I go, oh my God, I thought I had problems.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It kind of really grounds you into, there's a lot more going on out there, isn't there?
100%. And it also can give you a little bit of, power in your own self, because you hear someone else's story and you go, wow, they got through that. I can take the next step in my day. 100%. That's the power of sharing it, is you get to inspire each other. And I hate calling other people inspirational, because I feel it's just such a social media, like, oh my God, it's so inspiring, yada, yada, yada. But it does have that moment of connection to allow you to change your mind in a certain situation, how an issue can crop up in a day because you have heard someone else's story, and you can kind of draw from their strength to kind of give yourself strength. That just kind of, to me, stems what the Wren Project is. It's everyone's strength coming together to give each other strength, and it's a fantastic initiative. For anyone who is looking to maybe contact, they've heard this conversation, they're thinking, okay, this is up my alley, I really want to seek some help. How would they go about contacting you?
Well, through our website is the referral page, but also you can just give us a call if you prefer to do that, or send us an email, whatever is easiest for you, or reach out through social media. That often happens, hearing stuff like this or seeing on social media what we do and sending us a message there. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, I'll make sure and add all the details in the description for anyone who wants to get in contact. Kate, I have to say thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story. And the Wren Project is an unbelievable initiative, and I can only commend you on the work you do.
Thank you so much. And thank you for doing what you're doing as well. I think you're inspiring people to stick with what's going on and work it out for themselves.
Yeah, 100%. Giving people agency through other people's stories. I love it. I feel privileged to sit down and have a conversation with yourself. It's here, what are you, Tuesday morning, I get to sit down and just learn. It's so anyway, I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, and nice to see you.
Massive thank you to Kate for coming on and sharing her story and for the incredible work that they're doing through the Wren Project. Conversations like this are an important reminder that healing isn't just physical. It's about feeling understood, connected and supported. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd really, really appreciate it if you could follow the Survival Project, leave a rating, tell us how good we're doing or bad, as the case may be. And please share this episode with someone who might need to hear it. Genuinely helps me reach more people and continue sharing these conversations. If you want to check out more of the Wren Project, you can find links in the description below. If you'd like to learn more about their work or support what they do, please check them out. As always, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate your time. Next week, my guest will be Tasha Flynn, who suffers with FND. FND stands for Functional Neurological Disorder. It's a medical condition. It's a problem with how the brain receives signals, which causes physical symptoms like weakness, tremors, and seizures. And to be honest, that's only scratching the surface. Please join in next week to hear Tasha's story, and I'll see you there.